I'm looking for opportunities. I'm a shareholder in FTX. I have to disclose that. I'm also a paid spokesperson for Sam. Happy to do that. If there's ever a place I could be that I'm not going to get in trouble, it's going to be at FTX. I want full transparency of every transaction in my account, which has been swept clean. Millions of dollars are missing. There is no accounting records there. There's no conversion records. There's nothing. Now, obviously, none of us would have wanted to be in this mess if we could have avoided it, but we just didn't know.
Kevin O'Leary finds himself in hot water again for defending Sam Bankman-Fried. Whether he's truly defending Sam doesn't matter. His answers to Congress has made him very unpopular to the public. Complicating matters is that he used to be an FTX spokesperson.
And I have to disclose, I'm a paid spokesperson to FTX and a shareholder there too. And big advocate for Sam because
many celebrities took endorsement deals from FTX and many politicians accepted donations from them.
FTX? It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
The problem here is that Kevin O'Leary is saying good things about a horrible company which scammed millions of people out of their money while he's being paid $15 million to endorse FTX. Kevin shouldn't be defending Sam Bankman-Fried. He should be fighting him. Now, most of the $15 million he was paid is now gone forever since FTX's platform went under, so he shouldn't have any reason to protect Sam. The fact that he's still speaking positively about Sam is worrying.
Sam Bankman-Fried have furthered the debate on whether he knowingly commingled funds. He says he didn't, and that seems to be a view supported by our next guest. We're joined now by Mr. Wonderful himself, Kevin O'Leary.
In my view, my personal opinion, these two behemoths that own the unregulated market together and grew these incredible businesses in terms of growth were at war with each other, and one put the other out of business intentionally. Now, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's nothing wrong with love and war. But Binance is a massive, unregulated global monopoly now. They put FTX out of business. Now, lots of other reasons, I'm sure, but that's my personal opinion. That is what Sam Bankman-Fried told me in terms of where the assets went.
When Kevin O'Leary testified to Congress about his involvement in the FTX crypto collapse, he actually accused CZ, the CEO of Binance, of causing the fall of FTX. Now, to be clear, there were two things that led to the FTX collapse. The first was a CoinDesk article exposing FTX's money were mostly in FTT tokens, which had no real-world monetary value. This scared crypto investors who had FTT tokens. The second trigger of FTX's collapse was CZ, the CEO of Binance, who reacted to the CoinDesk revelation and promptly sent out a tweet stating his intention to dump hundreds of millions of dollars worth of FTT token onto the open market. This obviously spooked holders of the FTT token. Crypto is one giant Ponzi scheme. The crypto only has value if its users believe token can keep going up. Once the price drops and no one wants FTT anymore, then the FTT has no value. Hell, it could even go to zero. So many people sold their FTT token because of CZ from Binance and the CoinDesk article, triggering FTX's collapse, since at the back end, FTX's money was held mostly in FTT token. However, to claim that Binance was completely responsible for all of FTX's wrongs is incorrect. CoinDesk can't expose something if there was no fraud in the first place. CZ couldn't have triggered the collapse if FTX wasn't engaged in fraud in the first place. If FTX's finances behind the scenes were not as messed up or fraudulent as they were, then neither the CoinDesk expose or CZ's reaction to the article would have made FTX collapse. FTX collapsed because SBF engaged in fraud and misused his customers' money. CZ acted in Binance's best interest by selling off dangerous assets, the FTT, once he found out through the CoinDesk article. The problem with Kevin O'Leary's stance, based on an assumption from what he said, it's that Kevin somehow believes that FTX should have survived if CZ of Binance chose not to engineer the collapse.
Between these two, let's call them frenemies, because they obviously were potentially the two largest shareholders in the firm, they had a disagreement. They had a falling apart. Apparently, according to Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ would not comply with the regulators' request in these different geographies, these different jurisdictions, to provide the data that would clear them for a license. He withheld it, according to Sam Bankman-Fried. The only option the management and Sam Bankman-Fried had was to buy him out at an extraordinary valuation of close to $32 billion, less apparently a 15% discount. That stripped the balance sheet of assets. You ask me why it went bankrupt? Go to the last week.
Yes, Binance won the competition with FTX to become the better crypto exchange in the world. However, Kevin claims that Binance was an evil company, which destroyed their competitor FTX, which is very unrealistic. The new CEO of FTX, which was brought in to retrieve customer funds and fix the situation, rejected Kevin O'Leary's claims immediately. He said to Congress that FTX was just a common fraud which went undetected for far too long.
This is really old-fashioned embezzlement. This is just taking money from customers and using it for your own purpose. Not sophisticated at all. Sophisticated perhaps in the way they were able to sort of hide it from people, frankly, right in front of their eyes. But this isn't sophisticated whatsoever. This is just plain old embezzlement.
Old school.
Old school.
There you go.
CZ and Coindesk may have triggered FTX's collapse, but no one is going to blame an online article for a company's collapse. FTX's collapse would have happened anyway. If the Coindesk FTX expose didn't appear, then things would have gotten worse. We should be glad the problem didn't get passed down further down the line, where more people would have been hurt by FTX's collapse. Sam Bankman-Fried is going to jail for his crimes. Kevin has to stop defending Sam before public opinion turns on him. Giving the benefit of the doubt to someone who has caused the loss of billions of dollars of customer funds is never a good thing. Kevin clearly wants to know where his money went. A lot of money he received from Sam Bankman-Fried is still in the FTX platform.
Agreement with FTX to be a paid spokesperson. I was paid approximately $15 million for these services, plus approximately $3 million to cover the portion of the taxes due. The equity is now most likely worthless, and the accounts have been stripped of their assets and, interestingly, financial records.
He's lost almost $10 million because FTX collapsed, and he wants it all back. He wanted his money back, so he called Sam Bankman-Fried.
Simply called Sam Bankman-Fried and said, "Where is the money, Sam?" He said he had been refused access to the servers. He no longer knew. I said, okay, let's step back. This is a simple case in my mind of where did the money go? And I said, Sam, walk me back 24 months. Tell me the use of proceeds of the assets of your company. Where did you spend it? And then he told me about a transaction that occurred over the last 24 months, the repurchase of his shares from Binance, his competitor. I didn't know this at the time, but at some point, CZ or Binance, who runs Binance, purchased 20% ownership in Sam Bankman-Fried's firm for seed stock. And then over time, and I asked him, what would compel you to spend $2 billion was the number he was giving me at that time. Later, in a subsequent conversation, about 24 hours later, he told me it could have been as much as $3 billion to buy back the shares from CZ.
So after the call with Sam Bankman-Fried, he was now convinced that CZ was the person who has it. CZ, the CEO of Binance, is very angry with Kevin's claims. He has refuted most of Kevin's claims and called him a liar, arguing that Kevin didn't understand what he was talking about and defended himself and Binance.
Well, first of all, I think Calvin O'Leary, he's making a bunch of nonsense claims, and they don't make sense. They don't make any logic. He shouldn't be making those claims as a celebrity investor. I'm actually very surprised that he's able to omit a lot of different things. Calvin omitted the fact that there's no records. That's not a problem to him. So he just want to talk to Sam and believe whatever Sam says. He doesn't want to look at the records. So I think Calvin's a liar. So I think he's lying about a bunch of stuff. So that's his problem. To us, we want to be transparent.
In response to CZ's rebuttal, Kevin O'Leary went on CNBC to defend Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yesterday on the air, CZ called me a liar. That suggests that I perjured myself in front of the U.S. Senate for 2 hours this week. I can assure you that is not the case. Another little parable here you should understand. When I was young, my birth father, who's Irish, put me on his knee, and every Irishman will know this, and he said, son, never call an Irishman a liar unless you know with certainty that's true. And I said, why is that, Dad? He said, because the Irish are crazy. At the end of the day, I have no ill will to this guy, but he's part of the story too. And why was Sam Bankman-Fried or the whole company FTX forced into bankruptcy? It was jamming down that last $500 million that gave them no option. Now, is that the fatal stroke or blow to get rid of your global competitor? I say yes. And I'll tell you something else. Right after that interview, I got a phone call, or actually it was a text, from a lobbyist in Washington saying, don't go anywhere, you're coming back. So I bet CZ bought himself an invitation to Washington yesterday. Can't wait to meet him there. We can go sightseeing.
Kevin also told everyone he wants any FTX users who had an account with FTX to get their money back. At the end of the day, Kevin O'Leary is rich. He has almost $500 million. Losing money on FTX isn't the end of the world for him. This setback won't damage him in the long run. Hopefully, he sees sense and stops defending Sam Bankman-Fried. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.